All right, we back?
Yep.
Robert Slim Show. We're back with Steven David Lampley.
Hello there.
Steven, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are things up in that garden state of yours?
Pretty hot and humid.
Very soupy.
Where are you at right now, Steven?
Right now, I'm in Alabama.
Okay.
I'm in Alabama.
I saw Nashville, Alabama, and L.A.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
Just off and on, yeah. Right now, I'm in northwest Alabama.
Okay. And you're an author, an actor, and a former Special Victims Unit sex crime detective. How long did you do that for?
Yeah. I did that the last part of my career. I guess last 4 years.
Okay.
So the police chief came to me one day and said, look, I want you to put together a whole new unit. Only you and I know about it. The mayor, nobody else knows. And we started from there. So.
Wow. What was the gnarliest crime you ever responded to?
Oh, let's see. Well, I don't know. None of them are really great. Probably the one where there was a case of a crackhead married to a nurse, came home and wanted more money. She had been giving him money. She had been giving him money all along to fund his crack habit, and she'd had enough, and she finally said, no more. Well, and then he grabbed a butcher knife. So that was pretty much the end of that. It was a pretty gruesome thing, yeah.
Wow. Did any of them rattle you? Do you still think of any of them, and still like?
Actually, yeah, but not so much that one. There are, any police officer, and that's firefighter, EMT as well.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can't keep that. It stays with you. You can't keep it away.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there. What stays in my mind most is the case. One of the cases that's in my book, Outside Your Door, is the police officer's sister that was murdered, and we found her in the trunk of her car. But yeah, there's things that stay with you.
Wow.
You can't unsee stuff.
Yeah.
Was that? I'm sorry. I'm just kind of curious about that case a little bit. So, did this guy murder the police officer's sister to get revenge on this officer?
No. It was just for money. She had that. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of this. So you want to give you the whole rendition. She had gotten off work at a yogurt place and had gone home. She still lived with her parents. She was in her early 20s. And told her mom, said, look, I'm going to run down to this grocery store. Grocery store is like 2 miles from her house. And I'm going to give you something to eat. I'll be right back. Well, she didn't come back home. They woke up the next morning and she wasn't there. So they contacted friends, blah, blah, blah. Nobody knew where she was. So then they called us. We did a missing persons report on her, got the vehicle description and all. I dropped my partner off at East Precinct, Birmingham Police Department, so he could give the desk officer relief. And as I was doing that, we received another call on a possible stolen car back behind a school, not too far from the precinct. So I told him, I said, I'll go up there and handle that. You do desk relief. Well, I get there, and that's the description of her car. And it has been burned. The fire department has already responded and put the fire out. And I walk up to the car, look in it. The inside has pretty much been gutted by the fire. There's springs and you can see wires, and it's basically nothing left except metal, except in the driver's side floorboard is a 1 quart canning, I guess a mason jar, canning jar, has a rag still showing where apparently obviously somebody had set the car on fire on purpose and had it set on fire with a delay. So now I'm thinking it really doesn't look good. And as I'm standing there, I'm sure you've had a gut feeling before. Something inside you just gnaws at you. You don't know what it is. Well, I had this gut feeling that something was more wrong than what I was seeing. And I looked to the right, back where the trunk is separated from the passenger compartment. And in most vehicles, there's this paper board, thick sort of board that separates the 2 compartments. And I kept looking at it. And I looked at it. And I looked at it, I thought to myself, no, surely not. Please, no, Well, I take my mag light, my flashlight, and I start punching holes in it. It's wet, so it's easy to punch holes in it. It's wet from the fire department. And I start punching holes while I see blue jeans. Well, that in and of itself is not much, except the fact that the blue jeans were up about a foot where I was punching holes. There was somebody in those jeans. So, anyway, I screamed at the captain. We popped the trunk open, and what we saw was was really horrendous. It was really a shame that another human being could possibly do that to another. But basically what was left of her head, they had shot her in the face at point-blank range with a shotgun. And what was left was basically a flap of skin on the right side with an ear and a little bit of hair, and a flap of skin on the left side with an ear and a little bit of hair. That was pretty much it. That was all that's left of the girl's head.
Did you get the killer?
We did, yes. We ended up involving NASA on this case. The killers took her car to the bank, got her, back then it's called ATM card.
Yeah.
And went to the bank, and fortunately, I guess if it's a fortune in this case at all, a female, they got out of her car and went up to the bank, to the, the teller thing, and used her card. Well, what we had was a video or photos from the chin down to just above the waist. So we could tell pretty much it appeared to be a female.
Wow.
And she had on some kind of necklace and had on a T-shirt with a logo, but the cameras sucked pretty much.
Yeah.
The bank cameras just flat out sucked, and we couldn't tell what kind of necklace or what the logo or what the emblem was on the T-shirt. It was so bad. So after a lot of debate, we decided that maybe NASA could help us with this. If anybody could, NASA could. So we contacted NASA, and NASA said, by all means, send it to us. So we did that. We sent it to them, and about a week later, we get back a sparkling, clear image of a female with a hemp necklace cross and a restaurant logo on it.
Wow.
It's very plain, very, very plain. So then it was a simple matter of going to the restaurant and saying, does she work here? And they said, well, no, she doesn't at this restaurant, but she does at the one across town.
Oh, wow. And what were her reasonings for the murder? Did she ever say?
They wanted money.
Wow. That's just
if I remember,
It's just way too far for that. Like, you could have just robbed her or did the ATM thing and just left it at that. Like, you didn't have to do all the other shit.
Like, what makes you decide that, all right, I'm going to rob this person and kill him?
This is the only way to end this, is this. Yeah, no, that's horrible.
Maybe the fear of, like, oh, that person saw my face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only...
Yeah. Well, they thought they were going to get away with it, and they were going to do away with all. You know, when a person burns a car, whether they steal it for fun, or whether they're involved in a crime like this, they think they're going to burn all the evidence. That's not true.
Wow. Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No.
And that's what they thought. They thought, well, we'll kill her, we'll burn the car with her in it. You know, there'll be no evidence. Well, sorry. That's not how that worked out.
Stupid morons.
So I'm
that's
kind
for
of
you, right? You know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious if you had seen things like that a lot. Like, that seems like something you would see in, like, a movie or a TV. So were there a lot of criminals that would just do something that, like, they saw on TV or on a movie or something?
They do, but I mean, I don't know. Did these people see this on a television show? I have no clue.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible.
What
you know,
sorry, Steven.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, I saw you were the arresting officer of the Clairemont Killer. What was that back in the 90s? What was he? He murdered women in their, like, apartments and or homes. He would murder them right after they got out of the bathtub with knives from their own kitchen, correct?
Right, that's true. Yeah, he murdered 6 women in San Diego, California, over a span of, I'm not sure. I think maybe 6 months to a year, something like that.
That's what I was going to ask. How long the murder spanned?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't remember exactly, but it's going to be around that time. It wasn't very long.
Wow.
And then, of course, he left San Diego and moved back to Birmingham, which is where he and I came to know each other. So
I thought you were there. I thot you took him down there. Like, that's what I was going to ask. Like,
no,
what led up to you capturing him?
No, it was actually he had been taken in by the San Diego Police Department once, maybe twice, for questioning, and they had managed to get DNA evidence from him because they had DNA evidence on at least one, I think 2 of the crime scenes. And he got out of the Navy about the same time this was going on and flew and came back home to where his parents lived, which was at the East Precinct area where I worked. Well, he was at a bar on Birmingham South Side, and had stolen a carafe jar full of tips and got caught, arrested, and put in jail. And he had made bond and gotten out. Well, while he was in jail, making bond and they were doing all the paperwork, the warrants in San Diego, they matched his DNA and issued warrants for his arrest. Well, he got out before the warrants entered on the computer.
Okay.
This was going on at the same time, and they just didn't get entered in fast enough for them to catch it, and they released him. Well, San Diego saw that he had been arrested in Birmingham, and the next day they flew two detectives out to Birmingham to find him. And just so happened that was my last day at the police department on what we call utility status. Utility status is pretty much where you're a new officer and you don't have enough seniority to be assigned to a regular beat, so you get put wherever they need you, you know.
Okay.
And that was my day on the desk. Lucky me, right? You know, I said, fine. It's my last day. No problem, Sergeant. Give me the damn thing. Let's do it. Okay, let's get it over with. So I go down. I sit my butt down behind the desk, and these two gentlemen walk in suits. And they identified themselves as San Diego detectives. And anyway, long story short, what they wanted to do is they gave me his mother's phone number where he was staying on the arrest report from the night before. We want you to call, ask for Cleophas, and if he answers the phone or she says, I'm going to go get him, you let us know. We're kicking the door in. We're going to go get him and arrest him. No problem. I can do that. Well, that wasn't exactly how it went down. When I called, he was not home, and I was not prepared for that. I was expecting him to be there. And she said, well, he's not home. Who is this? You ever get a pucker really bad? Oh, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
I said, oh, hell, I've got the mother of a serial killer, and what am I supposed to do? So I lied. I said, look, I'm a friend from high school. I heard he's back in town. Can you have him call me? Sure. So about an hour later, he calls me.
Oh, wow.
On the phone. I'm thinking, I've got a serial killer on the telephone.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to, anyway, I tell him, I said, look, Cleophas, I'm not a high school buddy. I'm a police officer. I told him, I said, I'm a police officer. I said, you were arrested last night and got out? He said, yeah. I said, well, they didn't finish all the paperwork on you. There's still more paperwork we need to do, which was not a lie. He said, I said, so you probably don't want us to send a car to your home. I said, you probably want to come in and let us process that paperwork,
nice.
Don't you? He said, oh, yeah, man, don't be sending a car. I said, well, I didn't think so. I said, if you'll come in tonight, we'll finish that paperwork. All right, man, all right. And he called, over span about 8 hours, he called me about 4 or 5 times back and forth. And about 11, I think it was about 11:15, he walked in the police department.
Oh, wow.
You think he knew, like, when he walked in, you think he knew, like, he was caught?
I don't know.
No, he had no clue.
I wouldn't think so, yeah. Especially since he showed up. Like, I would not have thought so.
A lot of them get arrogant after a while.
Yeah.
Well, they are. Most serial killers are arrogant.
Yeah.
You know, they're full of themselves. They're beyond the law. So yeah, there was some arrogance there. He was, you know, and a lot of people think that serial killers are white male owners. That's not the case. That's not true. There are some that are. But, you know, this gentleman was not a loner. He was very outgoing, very likable kind of guy, as was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Jeffrey was quiet, but he was very likable, polite, regular, well, as regular as a serial killer can be, regular kind of guy.
Very charming, I believe they've said about Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, I'm sorry, now what would you ask?
I said I've heard that Jeffrey Dahmer was very charming.
Well, with the time that I knew him was when we were in the military. He would often eat with us and drink beer with us on Friday nights and talk about, you know, whatever happened during the week, and he was a polite guy.
Wow.
You know, I can't say that he was some under the bridge ogre, which he wasn't.
Right.
He was a very nice. You know, he wasn't walking with a limp and dragging an arm. He was a very nice guy.
Wow.
Wait, you
yeah,
knew?
I saw that you had interaction with him. I was going to ask what that interaction was. I figured maybe you consulted him on another case. Like, I didn't realize you had...
No.
Wow.
No, we were friends. And he, at that time, we did not know. We didn't know the name. We knew who it was. Nobody did. He had only killed, at that time, he had only killed one person. And nobody knew that yet. But then, of course, he went on to do the rest of his cannibalistic carnage. But
crazy.
You had a beer with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Wow.
you know, I had a friend tell me about, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 months ago. He says, you know something? He said, you may very well be one of the 2 people, the only people in the world who's known 2 serial killers, and you're still around to talk about it. I said, well, that may or may not be. I don't know.
I actually had a quick question about the other guy that you had arrested that we just talked about. You guys said that he was going into these girls' houses and then killing them with their own kitchen knives when they got out of the bathtub. So was he, like, going on dates with these girls?
No, well, no. He was a member of the same gym that a lot of these girls were, and he would watch them in the parking lot as they left and follow them home. Well, then, of course, he would wait till they got in the shower. You know, when you go to the gym, you go and get in the shower. So he would wait till they got in the shower, jimmy the lock, knock on the door, or not knock on the door, jimmy the lock, go in the door, and then you know, do his business.
Wow.
Sometimes he would. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He was given the death sentence, but he's still on death row, correct? From like 1993.
Yes.
Are they going to kill him, or are they just going to leave him in death row? Do you think?
Well, you know, it's like any other death row case. You know, it could be 10 years, it could be 40 years. You don't know. You know, I know he's gone through some appeals that he's lost.
Yeah.
I don't know what his status is at this point. I don't know how far along. You know, I don't know. But yeah, he's on death row in San Quentin right now.
Yeah, I figured they would have to stop wasting money. Like,
Yeah.
just get rid of the guy. Yeah. Wow. What going on to your book, Steven? How long have you been writing for?
Well, I didn't intend to write. I had a couple of friends say, you know, you need to write a book about these stories, because we were just talking. I'd tell them, you need to write a book about these stories, and I'd say, it ain't happening. No, that's not. We're not doing. I'm not doing that. And they kept on. I said, "Would you shut up? It's not happening. Forget it." And they just kept on. I said, "Look, I like the damn thing. Just shut up." You know.
I'll do it to shut you up. Yeah.
Yeah, just shut up. So I finally wrote it. Well, I started writing it. I got about 3 chapters. I said, "This is bull. You know, I'm not going to do this." And I quit. They kept asking me, "How far along are you?" I'm writing. Just leave me alone. So anyway, ended up finishing it, and.
How long did it take?
I guess from the time I actually started it to finish it, about a year.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, maybe a year, because you know, I'm anal about things being right, and I edited like 6,000, 100 million times, and you know, so I guess Stephen King is right. Adverbs are evil, so I had a lot of adverbs I had to take out. So.
I find myself when I write something, I go back and I see that I've used the same word way too many times. Yeah, like adjective or adverb. Yeah, like I'll change like the words up because I've just said the same word 3 times in a sentence. Like,
yeah, you know, when you're writing, you don't think. But yeah, I edited a lot, and actually I was going to go the normal route with that book, and somebody said, no, use Amazon. Go with Amazon. Amazon's the way to go. And so I actually wrote a second book, which I published first, just to test the system out and see. So that was the Detecting Liars book.
That's what I was going to say. I know you had the 2. You had Outside Your Door and the Detecting Liars, which that seems amazing. It's all about how to detect lies by body movement, tone of voice, like eye shifting and all that stuff. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Again, nothing's 100%. Polygraphs are not 100.
Yeah.
But it's a very good indicator, and it gives you, it's often very correct. And while you can't, you know, it's not admissible in court, it's a great investigative tool, because you pretty much know when somebody's telling you the truth or lying to you by using those.
Well, I'd heard, I don't know if it's true, like the eyes shift to the left, I think, usually when somebody lies.
It depends on if they're right-handed or left-handed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if they're right-handed and look up or right, they're lying. If they're right-handed, look up or left, they're telling the truth. Wow. It's just the opposite for left-handers.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And what's some of the other, like, what's some of the big indicators as far as, like, body movement goes?
If they're shifting, for instance, like in their seat, and they're constantly shifting left or right on each bun, or if they're standing, and they're constantly shifting their weight from one foot to the other, that's an indicator.
Wow.
If they're blading themselves away from you, like at a 45 angle away from you, they're probably lying. There's a lot of things. If they decide to, if their use of pronouns, for instance, instead of calling someone's name, they call him or her. They're trying to distance themselves from that person. They're probably lying. There's a lot of indicators.
Wow, that's crazy. How did you compile that? Was that stuff you learned on the police force, or like did you have?
It is. It's something I learned over the years. Yeah.
Learned it as you went. Wow, that's fascinating. And you
can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You have a book coming out like any day now, right?
Yeah, I have one coming out the 31st. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed because we still got a lot of work to do to get it ready. But we're going to have it out the 31st. Cool. It's Serial Killers and subtitle Inside the Mind of a Serial Killer. It's a little different kind of book. You know, of course, we can't really get into the mind of a serial killer without being one, and obviously I am not a serial killer, but it goes a little farther into what makes a serial killer tick. What kind of victims? There's a section on victims, a section on their IQ, and some things to look for in people.
Does anybody have the ability to become that, or is it just a certain type of people?
Well, in 2005, the FBI hosted a symposium in San Antonio, Texas, and they brought together, I think it was 135 of the world's experts on quote-unquote serial killers or serial murderers, as they call them, with the purpose of putting together a one-size-fits-all predictor of who is a serial killer and who they failed. They admitted themselves, we are unable to. It's not possible to do this.
Yeah.
It's not possible to determine who's going to be. But they did put together a list of common traits. But yeah, there's no way to know for sure. Usually, the first time that somebody knows somebody's a serial killer is when they're looking for the serial killer. You know.
Yeah.
It's after they've then committed the act.
What you said it's on Amazon. Is it available in hard copy and digital?
It was paperback and digital.
Cool.
On Amazon. Of course, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. I guess I'm giving them plugs. Barnes and Noble, Schuler's, and Jet are also carrying as well. So.
Cool. Awesome. That's very cool. And I saw too about your acting. Like, how did you break into acting? And is that something you still do?
Well, I don't do so much now. I didn't do much of it anyway.
Yeah.
So I started writing, and of course, writing takes up a hell of a lot of time. But yeah, there was a couple of films. There's one out now, Logan Lucky with Channing Tatum, Katherine Heigl, Daniel Craig, the 007 guy, that I did a small part in as a security guard, and then we did another one. Actually, the first film I did was shot in Birmingham, Alabama, with Kevin Sorbo, who played Hercules on television.
Oh,
cool.
Called Let There Be Light. And I actually made the trailer on. If you look on Let There Be Light with Kevin Sorbo, you'll see me in the movie trailer. I actually made the trailer on that one too.
That's awesome. Well, what do you do for fun, Steven?
Fun?
Yeah, like just unwind.
Wow. I go to the bathroom, man. I come back and sit down. I grab me a land shark and come back and have fun. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a good way to unwind.
Most of the time I'm writing.
Well, yeah. Lot of business.
I'm going to take a break after this serial killer book. I'm going to take a hiatus after it.
Nice. Well deserved too, I would say.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm hoping that. The serial killer books is probably a novel. There's some stories in there intermingled with the data and how the serial killers process and the different kind, organized versus disorganized serial killer and the psychopathic, both the sociopath, and all that information is in there, and how the processes work and how that works with the serial killer. But there's also some quotes and there's also some stories intermingled in between there. So it's not just boring book about serial killers.
Just like stats or something. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we have to wrap this up, Stephen, but thank you so much for talking to us. You've been amazing.
Well,
oh, no, you can go. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I appreciate your time. Appreciate your invitation.
Dude, it's great. Where can everybody find you?
I'm online, www.StevenDavidLampley.com.
Awesome.
There's books and all that are there.
All on the website. Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Listen, man, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Take care, man.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.